Howdy, welcome back to the channel. Today I have something very interesting for y'all. Today we're going to be making our own kitchen utensils. So these two right here I actually made. So this one is just obviously a wooden spoon. A pretty good sized one, and then here's my attempted multicolor spatula, which actually is very sturdy, and we've used it for sauteing and eggs and things like that, and it holds up really well. But today we're actually going to be making a spoon, but I'm going to be making this one. This one I did not make, this one was bought, but my sister and my mom requested this spoon right here because it's so small. You know, you see mine compared to this one. They love mine, but they said because they do sourdough and things with jars, they can't fit the spoon part inside the jars. So they requested this one, but they wanted me to extend out the handle so that way they can get down into those gallon and quart sized jars without actually having to stick their fingers down into it. So we're going to be making this, but everything I'm going to show you in this video, you can apply it to, you know, whatever kitchen utensil I think that you want to do. So like I said, we're going to be making this one, but you could scale it up if you want to do a bigger one. You could use the same principles that I'm going to show you here for the spatula. Obviously you're going to have to, you know, grind it down and things like that differently than a spoon, obviously. But yeah, so we're going to be making this one today. It's going to be a very fun one. I enjoy making my own kitchen utensils, so let's get into it. So guys, I've debated of what kind of wood I wanted to use. I have dark walnut, I have poplar, and I have oak. I've never used poplar before, so I've decided that I'm going to use poplar today, just because I've never worked with it and I love the look of it. So we're going to use this guy today. So all this is just a 1 by, I don't know, I think it's a 1 by 6. Yeah, 1 by 6 poplar board. So anything that's hardwood, I would not recommend using like a pine or anything, just because it's softwood, and I don't think I've ever seen a softwood or like a pine kitchen utensil. But just use any hardwood that's 1 by. So I'll show you how to get started. So we're just gonna take this spoon. Obviously, I'm pretty sure every household has some sort of bought wooden spoon. I just suggest using those as templates. So all I'm going to do here is just lay it down and then just trace it out, if I can get it not to move. So I left the handle here open just so that way I can extend it out. They said they just wanted to extend it out a little bit, so I'm going to grab a speed square, and I'm going to go out about 2 inches. So. Okay, I'm just going to round this piece off, and then I'm just going to go ahead and draw my hole. And then there it is. Okay, so if I were going to be making multiple utensils, I could take like my spatula here and lay it out like that, and I could do maybe another small spoon or something like that, whatever you want to do over here. That way, you know, I could do multiple cuts at once. But just because I'm just making this today, I'm going to save the rest of this piece of wood. So I could either rip this down just to where I leave out this shape, which I might do that just so that way I have a nice clean board next time I use it. Or you could just cut this out, but again, you're going to have that hole there, so I'll probably just rip it down. Now I have 2 separate boards. Now I have a 1 by 4 poplar now. Save this for another project. But here we go. Now it's cut down to where I'm not toting around a big piece of wood that's not needed. Obviously that step could have been skipped, but I prefer to do this. So once again, you could use a jigsaw, or I think I'm going to use my scroll saw again. But any of those would work, or if you have any other method, you could hand do it. So anyway, let's get into the cutting. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and drill out this hole with my drill press. You can find a drill bit that matches your hole. So I'm gonna go a little bit smaller. Yeah, that way I'll be able to make sure it doesn't split or anything like that, just because this is very narrow right here. So. Okay guys, so here comes the fun part. This is where we're actually going to shape this out. You're going to be doing a little bit of carving. What would be cool, and you could do this if you wanted to, do this by hand with a whittling knife. You could do that. Some people use a lathe, for the handle. I don't have one, so I'm going to show you what to do if you have an angle grinder or a sander. A sander is obviously going to take a little bit longer, but I am going to be using a sander to carve this out, to get it nice and round, but I'm mainly going to be using an angle grinder. So if you have one of those and you have a sandpaper attachment, this is going to be perfect for you. If you don't have an angle grinder and you have a lathe, then obviously use the lathe. I personally have never used one, but if you have, I'd say go with that for the handle. I'm also going to be using a sander. You could use a sander. It's just going to be, now, what would help is if you had a self-standing belt sander. That'd do it too. Just kind of, shape it out how you want to, but I'm going to be using an angle grinder, so I'm going to show you how I do it. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take this, I'm going to start with the handle first. Well, actually, let's start with the spoon first. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and clamp this down to the table. If you have a vise, it might be easier. Just make sure it's tightened down good where it won't move. So like I said, I'm going to be using an angle grinder. If you are going to use an angle grinder, please wear the goggles, please wear the ears and the mask, because this is going to spread dust everywhere. It could go into your eye, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you have full protection for this one. So I'm going to be kind of alternating between the angle grinder, my regular orbital sander. I'll kind of do a time lapse here just to kind of show y'all. But it's pretty simple, just carve it out. Just look at this, guys. So we're going to be carving out obviously in the middle. We're going to be doing the backs too to kind of get that little rounded shape. We're going to be rounding this completely out. So, just look at this and let that be your guide. So, let's get into it. Okay, so as you can see, these sanding things aren't going to be perfect. This is all done not by hand, but it's still done by power tool, but power tool by hand. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and kind of mark out where my bowl part is going to go. Okay guys, so this is the most difficult part, is being able to find a tool that will fit inside the bowl area to kind of give you that curve. You could do this with a chisel that's, a curved chisel for, or like I said, a whittling knife. I have a few of those. I'm not going to use that here because one, they're inside, and two, I want to do this video completely on this. Or I'm gonna try it with the angle grinder, see if I can do it. If I can, I'm gonna have to find something else to do it. I think I'm gonna be able to if I do it the other way, but anyway, I'll show you. But just heads up, this is probably the most difficult part of the project. Okay guys, so that's good for right now. This is just kind of the start of it, but as you can tell, I got the nice bowl shape out of it, even though it was just a small spoon, so you can do it. It's just a little bit more difficult trying not to nick any of that stuff off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to round off these edges down here. Okay, so here's kind of the rough start of it. As you can see, start to look more like a spoon. I'm going to need to grind it down just a little bit more, but just kind of show you how the progress as it goes. As you can see, I started to do the handle here just as I was coming up here, but you know, you're going to eventually sand all this stuff off, so don't worry about any, you know, high spots, low spots, more of the whittle look is like what I like to call it. But so yeah, that's the start of it. I'm going to keep kind of digging through this. Now, there is an option here. You could completely sand this part by hand now that you got it started. It'd make it look a lot better. You don't risk, you know, accidentally nicking over here and losing the whole spoon shape. But that's totally up to you. I think I'm going to try to hand sand it, see how far I can go, and if it's too difficult, still too thick up, then I'll grind it again. But okay guys, so here's what I have so far. The bowl is nice and deep. I think I got it to where I want it. But as you can see with this one compared to this one, look how much thicker. So I'm gonna have to go down, I'm gonna go back on the back again, and I'm going to grind some more of it off. The reason I'm not gonna grind more of the front off is because I think I got the bowl deep enough, but also because I don't want to accidentally nick this or nick something over here. And when I go to dip this inside soup or something like that, the liquids just fall out because there's no bowl there. So I'm gonna quit doing here. I gotta go back over it with a finer grit sandpaper to get it smooth, but I'm gonna work on the back. Okay, so after sanding and grinding a little bit more, you can see it's a lot skinnier now compared to how thick the wood was. And so that's pretty much it for the spoon part. Obviously, you know, there's a little bit more detail I could put into it, like doing a little bit finer sandpaper to get all the grooves out and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the handle. Okay, so it's the same thing. We're actually going to be clipping the head. You just want to be very careful. You just want to be careful that you don't squeeze it too tight because you don't want to break your head. So it just needs to be tight enough to where it doesn't move. And that way you can just go over it real fast. So. Okay, so again, there's kind of our rough shape. Obviously, I'm not going to grind this down anymore. I just don't want to take the chance of breaking it, and I got to completely restart. So I'm just going to stop here, and I'm just going to sand the rest. I am going to let you know that I did go ahead and go up here before I did the handle. Went ahead and orbital sanded all this down just to get a little bit smoother, just so that way y'all know that. But anyway, so I'm just going to hand sand the rest of this. So I'm just going to take a piece of sandpaper, like this 220 right here, just wrap it around it. So now all I'm going to do is wipe it down, because I know there's probably tons and tons of sawdust all over it, and then I'm going to put some finish on it. So let's go do that. Okay, take a shop rag and just go over it. Make sure there's no sawdust on it. Okay, so what I'm going to be using for a finish is, I got this Butcher Block conditioner. This stuff does wear off eventually, but you know, this is all food safe. It's made with mineral oil and natural waxes. So it's perfect for Butcher Block. I mean, that's why it's called Butcher Block. Because it's perfect, it's food grade. So all I'm going to do with this, let's give it a nice shake. Pop the lid. Now you can either apply it to the rag, or you can go ahead and apply it to this. I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to this just cause. Did a little too much, but shows that the bowl is working. So we're just gonna go over it. Alrighty. Okay guys, well, that's it. I mean, it's pretty simple. It does take a little bit of time. I think it took me I think about an hour and a half. But this is also with filming, so that takes up a little bit more time too. But there's nothing really to it. I mean, it's pretty simple to do. I used, what, 2 tools? If you're including this one, 3. That was it. So now my sister and my mom have a nice spoon. Let me see if I can get the original. Here's the original. This is mine. Pretty similar. And obviously mine's not perfect because I didn't get any type of specialty power tool or anything like that, but it'll do the job. So as you can see, the handle's about an inch longer than this one was. I probably should have went a little bit longer, but that's okay. But anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.